I'm not a water guy.
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
either is Egidio.
I'm a land dweller.
Welcome back to another episode of the A Team at New Beginnings Farmstead. I'm Elisa. We have Ryan, Julie, Jeff, and Egidio. And almost all of the A Team was just recently on a short vacation together, all but one.
Ryan
didn't join us. But as this is happening, we are trying to convince him to join us next year because we're going to go back. So
All
Don't
things
do it. It's a
considered,
trap.
I didn't have a lot of time to plan for that one either.
that's true.
That was
No,
kind
you
of
did
sprung
not.
on me last minute.
That
Yes, it
is
was.
true. But now you have a full year's notice.
So we already have the dates. We're not going to announce them.
No,
but
of
we already
course
have the
not.
dates, right?
So where, if you guys want to talk about our trip, you can take it away.
Sure. So we went away to a place called Association Island. It's a place that we went camping. So my family had gone
RVing.
camping.
what was it? What? I missed it.
RVing, he
Oh,
said.
RVing.
It's not camping.
My family had gone camping there last
RVing.
year, and it's just on the east coast of Lake Ontario, right south, just south of Watertown. So 3.5, 4 hours from where we live, and it's the location is very remote. You head out north from Utica or Rome area or Syracuse area, and as you get to this location, you go down across a causeway, and this is beautiful island. It used to be a camp or remote camp for GE, the GE employees.
Oh, that's cool.
And then it was something else after that, and it turned into this private. It was a KOA, and now it's a private campground. My family had gone there last year in May, or a couple of years ago in May, and it was very, very buggy. And we said we would never go back that time of year, but we loved the location, so we went back, and we got everyone to come with us. So Jeff's family and
Not everyone.
another family that we had,
Almost.
Ryan's
You were
family
invited.
chose not to come. And then you guys came and stayed in you don't have an RV, but you stayed in a cabin there. And it was really, really awesome.
But we had such a great time. It was the first time that we had ever taken our dog with us.
Yes.
We took Lola, and I was a little nervous about taking her because Lola is known for being a little bit of a lunatic, but she has settled down dramatically unfortunately, since her mother passed.
My son said, "Isn't that the dog that went through the window? That dog's going to come with us."
And she
Yeah,
was really
yeah,
well behaved,
she
wasn't
was
she?
well
was.
behaved.
Yeah,
Yeah, she
she
was
did
well
well, and she got along with Betty and Boomer, and here are two little ones, and yeah, we had a great time. We had a really good
What
time.
did we end up? 3 campers.
Well, we also
12
had your
people?
your
Yeah.
cousins. So we had 12 people
12 people.
all together. Brandon joined us.
Yep.
And so the campers were right next to each other, and our cabin was a little bit down, but we've already reserved for next year, and we're going to be all right together, which will be even more fun.
Right.
And what was most exciting for me is that we actually got Egidio into a kayak.
That's right. So one of the great things about the location is that there's a protected side of the campground, the island, and there's a marina, and they rent boats, but we brought some of our boats on our own as well. And you can go out and paddle, and there's a little island that you can paddle to and swim, and it's a really, really great time.
And we actually have some video that we're going to show you right now.
Live bang. Kayaking's fun, boys and girls, but you must take all safety precautions. A hat to keep the sun off you, a vest in case you fall in the water, and most importantly, maintain a good grip on the paddle. Have fun, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, that was amazing. We were shocked. First of all, I think I have gone. The first time I kayaked actually was at the kayak festival that Kingston had in 2019,
I
which
remember
was
that.
like the last. Yeah, you
Yeah,
were
I
with us.
remember you guys
Okay.
coming.
Yeah,
You didn't go in the water.
no,
I
Egidio,
couldn't.
Ryan,
I
and
was wearing
Poppy.
work boots and jeans.
And I
What
feel
would
like I
want
had you
to
help
do?
me put
So
up
was he.
a fence or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, I had to put up the fence.
You put up a fence.
Yeah. Well, you
Mhm.
guys stayed on shore, and Poppy was with us. He sat in the shade, and most of us went out and took advantage of the trying some kayaks and paddle boards, and I had so much fun that I rented a couple times with my daughter and went in the Rondout Creek, which is a little hairy. I think the Rondout Creek, it's like there's a lot of activity, even though,
because you're really right in the channel. There's a lot of,
yeah,
even though boats are expected and really should be moving very slowly and not creating any wake, just the proximity to other boats is very close. And that's why it's always interesting when people say, "Oh no, I'm not going out on the Hudson River." It's much calmer than it is going in the creek, in my opinion.
yeah. I'm not crazy about going in the creek. I probably, especially after this experience going on Lake Ontario, it was amazing. The water was like glass.
Yeah, it was really great, and we could see very clear. So we were able to see. We weren't in very deep water, but we were able to see the bottom and see fish and see.
Yeah, I saw
lots of plants.
I saw a huge fish. It was
Yeah.
like this big.
Yeah.
And Steve was great. He stayed with me. I was in the one day and a half I was in a blow up kayak, which is a challenge. And Steve was gracious enough to switch with me. And then it was like able to race.
Yeah, it was
It
great.
was an amazing difference.
We paddled out to a little island and got out and stretched, and
And
Took a
then
dip.
someone had a little mishap.
Never reach.
Never reach.
You were just told, right, Julie?
said
You
it from the
just said to
beginning.
him. You don't know this, do you?
No.
Yeah.
No, someone here at this table rolled their kayak, and it wasn't me.
So,
wow.
But
I don't-
wait. The kayak was half on land.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So you
But-
went.
Completely unbalanced. Completely unbalanced.
Yes.
So I'm not a person who is good in the water, jet skied and been on boats. And anyway,
but you do not like the water. You generally
I prefer
don't
not
swim.
to be high up in the air and in the water, right?
Right. Mhm.
It's a landlubber type of a thing.
Right.
So
No wings, no gills.
that's it. So, but my sister, who is equally not confident in the water, her and I stayed in the marina area where the boats were, and it was great. It was a beautiful day, and she stayed with me, and she said, "Listen, I'm not getting wet." And surprisingly, she did not get wet. Not a drop of water hit her, getting in or out, anything, nothing. Shocked. And we did, I think, 41 laps in that little marina while you went out and did the entire bay out there. And so the next day we said, "Listen, it's really calm. It's all flat water. Let's go out there." So I had used your Pungo 120, I think it was, right? And it was great. You kind of like you're low in the water and paddling, and I had no idea what I was doing paddling until Steve corrected, and you kind of showed me where to hold my arms and use the torso instead of the arms. And so there was a couple of improvements I made that made a big difference. And because I got to the island, I'm like, man, I'm tired.
It's
how
an
do people-
amazing
How
workout.
do people do this? But getting into it certainly was not my forte. And the sit in, although I just watched the program, we'll try to send a link on this on kayaking for seniors, where
We've been watching a lot of kayak,
lot of kayak videos.
because we are now shopping for kayaks.
So we said instead of a sit in, you can get a sit on top, and that's got like a lounge chair, coffee holder.
Is that what you have, Jeff?
I do, yeah. We bought it for my father. He was like, 80 years old. He was kayaking.
Wait a
So
minute.
he-
80, huh? Well, it still works for 60-year-olds. So you have that,
Mhm.
and then the other ones are the sit-in,
Yes.
and then the one that you used was an inflatable,
Well, I use that, and then I use Steve's, which is
which are sit-ins,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
all sit-ins.
They're all
Okay,
sit-ins.
and they're essentially the same. They're different models, but they're essentially sit-in where you sit essentially 90 degrees. Your body is 90 degrees. Your legs are straight out, almost a slight bend in the knees. There's foot rests, I guess they are.
so
inside.
Steve is significantly taller than I am, so I couldn't really use mine. I didn't want to adjust anything in his
okay.
kayak, so I was kind of like had my knees bent up. But
and then just the paddle, and you just kind of work.
but
your way in
Julie
the-
halfway, she's like, "Do you want to learn how to go really fast?" I'm like, I sure do.
Yeah, we did it.
Yeah, that was so much fun. So you've been kayaking for a very long time.
I have. So when I first started working for the city back in 98, from like 98 to now even, but for a while, Steve and I were leading guided kayak tours for the city. So one of the first things we did was try to build the assets that the city had within the department. So we ended up working closely with Kenco Outfitters, and we ended up purchasing 26 boats. So a mix of single and tandem boats, recreational kayaks. So relatively flat bottom, not meant for long distances, meant for beginners. And on Friday nights, we had a sunset paddle. Saturday morning, good morning paddle. Saturday night, sunset paddle. And we would take people out on the Hudson by the dozen and paddle for 2 hours, go north on the Hudson for a mile and come back, and took out thousands of people. But I learned that at the previous nature center that I used to work at, and we used to do sunset paddles with food. So we would paddle out to an island. We would bring like snacks and food, like cheese and crackers and stuff with us, and then paddle back. And
That's very cool.
yeah, so we and our department still offers this. So we also do it for school groups, and when our other educators are not available or need an extra hand, it's not uncommon for Steve and I to do that. And actually, just recently, we brought out 24 international visitors out on the Hudson River and took them paddling. And
these are all sit-in kayaks.
these are all sit-in. And you know, you learn when you're paddling a lot or long distance, you really learn how the proper posture. And I also have a really bad back, so I have to have good posture when I'm paddling. And you quickly learn that it's not an arm sport, it's a core sport. And so we teach folks that you're basically making a figure 8 with your hands, and you're never really taking your hands above your eye level, because you're putting the paddle in as far as you can to the front and pulling it all the way back, and you're engaging your core, locking your legs in. You're not like just moving your arms, you're moving your entire core. And it's amazing because you can also go really fast, go really far, and then the next second just sit there and lean back and look at the fish, put your hands in the water, and you become one with the water, so you can really feel how it's moving around. But what's important, and we noticed this even when we were at Lake Ontario, is that you could go even within the course of an hour, and we don't tend to paddle for more than 45 minutes or an hour anymore. It could go from glass to whitecaps, and just with a little bit of wind, it changes the dynamics of what you're doing, and need to be mindful that however far you're going out, you're going to have to go that far back. So, but you all did great. We were very proud.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah.
How'd you get into it?
I don't know, probably about 14, no more than that, probably about 18 years ago. We just bought kayaks and
Did you rent them first? Did you go
No.
on? You just decided one day you're going to buy kayaks.
Yeah, we
Wow.
just decided to buy kayaks, and we went and bought them.
Nice.
We've been kayaking ever since.
And they bring their 2 little dogs. So Betty is on one kayak and little Boomer's on the other, and the little life jackets.
True
And
statement.
one of them dove off one time.
Yeah, Boomer decided to leave my kayak and go to hers. Didn't work out too well. He went for a swim, and he was not impressed. So we ended up switching and leaving Boomer in her kayak. And
So he's got to be with her.
yes, yeah.
That's
Otherwise,
okay.
otherwise he will go for a swim again.
And you tether up Betty, right?
Yes, Betty's got to be tethered because she'll wander too.
I don't think we're going to try Lola.
No, I wouldn't try that.
Lola would need her own kayak.
No.
She weighs 72 pounds. And she's still a little loopy. But
And we did stand up paddleboarding also.
We did. We have a collection of boats that we bring with us. It's quite the sight.
that is very difficult to do. That day that I went down, and I should say that the first time I ever went out in a kayak, it was Steve led the tour. And it was Steve, I had myself and almost all of our kids. Chris and Christina were with us that day, and we had a great time. But
we did kayak festivals for a long time to get people out
that
onto
was
the water.
so amazing.
Yeah,
And I tried the paddleboard. They're hard.
They're a lot
Yeah.
of fun, but they are harder.
it
yes.
is.
I got
It's
wet
a
there.
balance issue, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And but once you get it, you got it.
Yeah.
It's finding that balance.
Yeah.
And then as soon as you figure yourself out, you're good.
Mhm.
But it takes a while.
Yeah.
It's to get that.
Yeah.
But Matthew was really good at it.
He loved it. When the water's nice and glassy, it's good to get out there, and you can kneel, you can sit, you can do yoga on a stand-up paddleboard.
Oh, cool.
Stand up.
Ooh, I have
That's
to
what
try that.
Brandon used.
Brandon
right?
used
Yes.
that.
This is the
He went
paddle.
really far in it too. That had to be a workout.
Yeah, it's
That-
hard.
That
doing
has to be
distance.
quite a workout.
Yeah, and not great for your back, but
Yeah, no.
yeah. So the trip was great. We had lots of good meals.
Yeah, and then we sat around the
fires.
fire at night. You guys got to come next year, Ryan. We're giving you a whole year. plan it.
It was a good time. Very good time.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an isolated island, just beautiful. You don't have to worry about
We biked.
any problems.
Yeah.
And, we struggled to find pizza the one night.
Because you had to go pretty far for that.
Yeah, you got to go into Sackett's Harbor.
But now we know where it is. We're all set for next year.
And then really, I mean, you go in, it's a gated island. Really, there's no,
Right.
you go across a causeway, right? Causeway.
Yep.
And that was it. And then the same thing, like, you take your bikes. It's beautiful. Everybody's there is great. They have all the facilities you need. You really don't have to leave.
Yeah,
You have
we didn't
an
leave.
in-the-ground pool that you went in.
Pool. I swam in the pool every day.
Yeah.
There's
Pickleball every day. We
pickleball.
played
They have
billiards inside.
yeah, they have organized activities for little ones.
Yep.
Like every day they post like what their activities are. I saw that one day they did like rock painting.
Yep.
They had like
Kickball,
games. Yeah.
slip and slide.
Yeah, it was great. So
we ran
we're
into that group on YouTube.
Oh,
Put a
yes.
link in there.
Switch it up.
Switch it up.
Switch it up.
Yeah, I just saw they posted their video on the Erie Canal.
Mhm.
So they'd been there at that campsite, and nice people. We talked to the guy for a while, right? Decent guy, and
Yeah, we had talked to the wife too for a while.
We did.
yeah, so it was good. So we didn't have a camper.
No.
I know that's on the list at this point, but
we'll have kayaks
we'll have kayaks
before next year.
Yeah,
We're shopping now and we're watching a lot of videos and figuring out.
I'm looking
what's
at
gonna
the 5 most common mistakes
Yes.
to do while you're kayaking.
Mhm.
Buying
Yeah.
one.
Right. Tandem is in the top 2.
Yeah, how come,
Oh,
you
yeah,
how come you
no.
didn't recommend a tandem to us? I said I have a good hook on a
No.
good one. It's pretty cheap.
So-
Guy's just trying to get rid of it.
So when we first started looking at kayaks, I wanted to buy a tandem. It's easier, right? And we went to the Eastern Sports or one of them, and I told the guy what I wanted. And he looks at me and goes, "You love your wife?" I'm like, "That's kind of an odd question, but sure." And he goes, "Don't buy a tandem.
Yeah.
Buy 2." I said, "Okay, we'll buy 2."
So it's
Have
funny.
you been
because-
in a tandem? You're saying it like
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Is it awful?
Yeah,
It's awful, but so we have tandems that we use when we do the tours, because if we're bringing out a child that
Right.
feels not confident or doesn't have the endurance, or someone who is fearful or has special needs and still wants to be able to get out, then there could be a either stronger or more responsible person in the boat with them. But if you have 2
Yeah.
headstrong people
Mm-mm.
trying to coordinate, is not a good idea.
You'll have a
No.
third, you'll have a third lawyer with you
Yeah.
by the end of the day.
No tandem.
Yeah.
I could see him sitting behind, and as I paddle, he would be stopping the boat just for fun.
Again, they have their place. They're
Yeah.
great boats. They really are. But yeah, no.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everything that you talk, because it's funny when you watch these videos, the guy's like, if you have a tandem, we don't actually call them tandems on this channel. We call them divorce boats. He kind of made us laugh because of that story you told us. But no, interesting. Like I said, getting into it, and it wasn't my cup of tea. Obviously, I fell into the water twice, and but anyway, but the sit on top, I think, is really what I'm looking at. It's
I don't want to
if-
sit on top. I
if
want-
it's designed for an 80-year-old man, then that's
Well, again,
what I'm looking for.
you're not restricted, right?
Right.
You
Right,
can,
right,
It's funny. He used to stand in the water, and we would push the
Yeah,
boat
that's
underneath
it.
him,
Yeah,
and he would sit down, and
Yeah.
then he'd
Nice.
go his day. And when he got back, we'd put him in like 2 foot of water. He'd stand up, we'd pull the boat out, and
yeah.
away he would go. So
Yeah.
they had their place.
Yeah.
They're I like mine. It's just easy to get in and out of.
Right.
And Ryan, have you ever been kayaking?
I don't think so. I spent quite a bit of time in a canoe, duck hunting and that, but I don't think I've ever been in a kayak.
So would you go in a kayak?
Where do you put the motor?
so surprisingly,
They do have
as
motor.
as I'm
They
researching,
do.
so the sit on top kayaks are normally fishing kayaks.
Right. You put a
And
little trolling motor on the
They
front.
got
of
a little, and
Yeah.
they come with
and
the
they're
center
electric.
section,
They are electric.
battery powered. Yep. And
Yeah.
there's pedal
It's pedal
kayaks that
Yeah, I've
have
seen that.
rudders, and then they do have the ones with the trolling motors on them. And I'm like, yeah,
That's
that's,
my
perfect
style.
for me.
That
That's
is my style.
perfect.
All right. Well, maybe you'll come with us next year.
The kayak?
Yeah.
You'd love it. You'd love it. Yep. The waters.
And your wife and daughter would love it.
You
Yeah,
need a
You can
tandem.
put
lots
your
of
daughter right
dogs.
in there
And
with
you
you.
get the tandem. So
Yeah. When Matthew was small, we
The divorce boat? Didn't we just have this
No,
conversation?
for you and your daughter,
For your daughter,
not
for your
daughter.
not-
For your daughter.
Yeah, when Matthew was small, we put him right in the cockpit on our lap, and then we would hold the paddle in front and paddle.
Oh, there you go.
Then he gets bigger, gets his own.
Yeah. Yeah. She
Very
would
cool.
love it.
I'm
would
sure
love
she
that.
would.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So you have a whole year. Hopefully you'll join us. We're hoping. We had a great time.
It was good.
and we're heading back.
We are.
All right.